go to school to learn Swahili, or you learned
I
it
picked
along the way?
Kiswahili up when I stayed for some time in Kenya.
Oh,
So I picked up Kiswahili when I was there.
Okay.
And then when I started going to Tanzania to preach, I also had to learn more Kiswahili.
all right.
Yeah.
We all know you as a Catholic priest.
Yes.
Yes, let's start from there. How did this all come about? Let's talk about this priesthood. How did that come about?
Well, in fact, just yesterday I was thinking about my life, and I was thinking, my parents took me to be baptized when I was 3 days old. I was born, and then 3 days later, my parents took me to the church in Ireland, in Dublin.
That was so fast.
To be baptized.
Some kids
And
get
my
baptized
mother,
when they're way too old.
I know, but my mother tells me that I was a bit sick. I was a bit ill. So there was this thought, this child might not survive. So he needs to be baptized quick.
Oh.
So I was baptized when I was 3 days old. And I suppose my parents didn't know at that time that I would become a Catholic priest. Obviously, neither did I.
Or you had no idea, or it wasn't part of your plans growing up?
Well, never really, as a child, did I think about becoming a priest. When I was a child, I wanted to. There are several things I wanted to be. I wanted to be a pilot. At one time, I wanted to be a doctor. I think my father really wanted me to be a medical doctor. I wanted to be an actor, and so on. And I think I spent a lot of time as a child wondering what I would be. And it isn't until much later in my life that the thought of priesthood came to me. Like any young person, I had this advantage or blessing that I was able to spend time in Europe.
Okay.
I was able to go there. I left Uganda during Amin's time.
So this is after school, you decided to go back to
after school,
England?
I decided to go back to England. And, while I was there, I was in my 20s, late teens and 20s.
Okay.
And in London, and life was just so good. There were discos to go to,
Yes.
and parties to go to, and it was very easy to get jobs in those days. Because I finished secondary school, but I didn't go to university at that time. And so I really lived life to the full as a young person in terms of enjoying life. And I thank God that I had that kind of experience as a young person of not being religious in any way or any shape or form. I mean, I did go to Catholic schools. I was brought up in the Catholic faith. And as I told you, I was baptized as a Catholic. But I wasn't a serious Christian in any shape or form.
The kind that go to church every Sunday, it wasn't you?
It was not something that featured in my life, really. However, at about the age of 22 or 3 or 4, when I was in England, I began to get this feeling or experience of life not having any meaning.
Yes. After doing it all, you feel like, what else is there?
Yeah, I'm just thinking, okay, here I am, I got a job, I'm enjoying life, but what is life all about? Why am I on this earth? And my friends and my peers had jobs. Some had better jobs than I did. Some were better off than I was. But I just never had this feeling that I wanted to be like any of my peers.
Yes.
Now, nkola tours and travel, like a travel agency.
Okay.
Now, nfuna sente simbi. Kati nga nina ne mukwano gwange yali mu Faransa nga tukola naye mu office.
This is around the 80s?
Yeah, this would have been in the late 70s, early 80s.
Oh wow, okay.
Kati kagamba life yenga it is so good. In fact, in the office he was senior to me. So he had more money, nga yambala bulungi nnyo. So I remember sometimes sort of looking at him and thinking, you know, my life will one day be like his, you know. But then there was always something in me which said, this can't be all that life is about. And I went through a time of self-searching, a time of confusion in my life, really. Ate kwegamba ekizibu kyali nti eno Uganda nali nvuddeyo bazadde bange baali eno. Really nali siina nnyo muntu akumpabula. I was just on my own. Okay, nali ne baganda bange Bungereza eyo, mukulu wange ne sister wange. So naye nga ffenna era tuli bavubuka, tewali nnyo muntu asobola kuwabula munne. Ate kufe ffenna tewaaliwo nnyo muntu oba munaddiini oba muntu ali spiritual
Someone to advise and guide you along the way.
Naye I began to get this emptiness, this feeling of emptiness, and I didn't know why. I just thought, what's wrong with me? I'm not happy.
Let's get a musical break. Move into your next song of choice. When we come back, we'll talk more about the transition into priesthood. Father Musaala, what will be your next song on the show?
My next song on the show. Well, this takes me back to, I think, my disco days in London.
Disco days.
There was a wonderful song called I Will Survive, which was sung by Gloria Gaynor. And, you know, I was a young man at that time, and this was the song that was in the discos, you know. I Will Survive.
It means a lot, yeah? Okay.
And it's like a theme of life for me as well, that I will survive.
And you make it seem like you are a survivor, like you survived a lot.
In a way. We've all been through a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but there we are.
First I was afraid, I was petrified. Oh, as long as I know not love, I know I'll be alive. I've got all my life to live. I've got all my...
Hey, welcome back to Gold Days. You spent a lot of time in Kenya. Over 10 years, you were not coming back home to your, you know, mother country, Uganda. When did you move back home to Uganda?
Okay, when I was in Kenya, I think what happened was I was able to re-encounter Christ through my experience with these brothers, because I stayed with them. So my faith began to come back. I started praying again, and I started discovering that life had another meaning other than just, you know, partying and whatever. So that was the beginning of my journey to the priesthood. So, in fact, I ended up joining a brothers community in Kenya first. And then I left that community and I went back to England, really still searching for what the Lord wanted to do with me. The time that I had in Kenya was the time whereby I think God was changing me from one type of life to another. A life focused on Jesus Christ, a life focused on prayer, a life focused on trying to live a better life and being a better person. So, I lived with these brothers, and then I went back to the UK. And it's when I went back to the UK that I entered the priesthood. And then I met someone who introduced me to the Archbishop of Westminster in London. And this Archbishop is the one who actually asked me whether I ever thought of becoming a priest. And it hadn't really been in my mind, but when he said it, when he asked me about this, I said I'd think about it.
You enrolled and studied for how long? And
So
then...
I went to the seminary in England, and I studied there for 8 years,
Okay.
passed all my exams, and I was ordained a Catholic priest.
Wow.
It was a very happy day.
How long has it been since then?
21 years.
Wow.
So I was ordained in 1994, and then I was appointed to a parish in North London called Wood Green. And in 1996, I requested my bishop in England, Cardinal Hume. I said, I really feel this need, this desire to go back to Uganda. So he said, you haven't lived there for a long time. It might all be very strange to you. I said, yeah, but I need to discover what that strangeness is all about.
And when did you move to Uganda?
1996.
Ah, that same year.
That same year, I came back. Yeah.
And tell us about the transition from priesthood into music. How did that come about?
Well, you know, I've always been musical. I told you about my disco days and going to clubs and so on, and I'd already actually composed some songs, secular songs,
Okay.
before before I got involved with Christ. Now, I was working with the youth. I was very much interested in working with young people, and I was appointed to a parish in Gaba, and then eventually to Matia Mulumba in Old Kampala, and I was the youth chaplain. I was always the youth. The youth love music, and I love music. So I had this friend of mine, actually, one of the young people, and he said, "Father, why don't you, make some songs?" This is one of the youth's ideas, And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So
And what was your first song? What
the
was
first
your
song
hit
was
song?
Tusimbe Fenda Muchisinde.
Oh.
So this song, Tusimbe Fenda Muchisinde, is what kind of launched me onto the gospel, into the gospel.
For those who have no idea what the song was about or what it went like,
Yeah.
give us a little bit taste.
Tusimbe Fenda Muchisinde, Chamukama wafe Yesu, tulimulaba muguluye, wamu n'abatukirivu